Palestinian Hamas movement and its rival Al-Fatah party, which supports President Mahmoud Abbas, have agreed to set up a joint committee for the post-war governance of Gaza. According to this plan, which was reached in Egypt's capital Cairo and which still needs the approval of the Palestinian presidency, the committee will be made up of a group of 10 to 15 non-partisan figures with authority in matters related to the economy, education, health, humanitarian aid and construction. Hamas and Al-Fatah have also agreed that this committee would administer the Palestinian side of the Rafah checkpoint bordering Egypt, the only passage to the territory they do not share with Israel. And a newly released report by the United Nations warns about starvation in northern Gaza due to the Israeli siege, which has completely deprived many people of food and water. The siege maintained by the Israeli Zionist troops for almost 2 months now includes, in addition to constant bombardments, a restriction on the entry of humanitarian aid. This way, out of 200 trucks a day contemplated in the UN assistance agreement, Israel does not allow more than 36. As a consequence, bakeries in the north have closed due to the lack of flour, leaving the people trapped in destroyed homes without food or water, having to resort to negative habits such as skipping meals or eating out of the garbage to alleviate hunger. Russia discussed the elaboration of a strategy for the development of the education system until 2040. The document is being prepared on behalf of the President and will be presented in the spring of 2025. Oli Jasinski with the details.
The development of a unified education strategy for the country is under preparation in Russia. This national project, as part of Youth and Children, is to be submitted to the government in March 2025 and will involve experts in the field of education, teachers, rectors of leading universities, business representatives, state corporations, students, and young people. The country faces great challenges.
There is still a great demand to improve the quality of national education, but there are also serious problems. This involves a high bureaucratic burden on teachers and a shortage of teachers in several regions. Several systemic decisions have already been taken to improve this area. The President has developed a comprehensive action plan aimed at improving the quality of education in mathematics, physics, and natural science subjects in general in all schools in the country, and at increasing the level of teacher training in these disciplines and eliminating the shortage of personnel.
The issue of youth policy is of strategic importance to the country, especially at this historic moment. Today's young people are the future of the country, and everything possible must be done to help them learn to express themselves and their talents, set goals, and achieve success. Many reforms in recent years have been counterproductive for educational development, so they need to be reevaluated.
We must return to traditional Russian education. We can no longer train high school students for the unified state exam, instead of providing them with real skills. The indicator of education was not the quality, but the number of machine-readable points. I think one of the important achievements of last year's State Duma was the passage of the unified curriculum and unified textbook law in the humanities. We got rid of hundreds of actual textbooks written under the dictation of Soros consultants.
The needs and wishes of the students themselves and their parents are also taken into account when developing the strategy. To collect data on their expectations, sociological studies are conducted on the Government Services Portal. There are working groups with university students, as well as with middle and high school students.
This is work on a scale unprecedented in our country's modern history. In fact, the whole country is involved in it. The education system as a whole must meet the national goals and objectives set for us by the President and help to strengthen economic sovereignty in all key areas. To this end, it is necessary for the educational field to fully meet the personnel requirements of the industry.
State policy in the field of education will be implemented by granting subsidies to the regions, while emphasizing the importance of aligning regional projects with federal objectives, as well as the principles on which education policy is based. This coordination is aimed at increasing efficiency and achieving the goals of the National Education Project.
And South American countries agreed to strengthen energy cooperation at the second meeting of Vice Ministers of Energy of the Brasilia Consensus. Representatives of the 12-member countries of the Brasilia Consensus met in the Colombian capital at the second meeting of Vice Ministers of Energy. This consultation mechanism was created to strengthen ties between neighboring countries in South Africa. In this framework, they agreed to consolidate integration to address the energy transition as a bloc. They also highlighted the importance of the technical reports prepared by the Latin American Energy Organization, which will be a key tool to guide the political and energy decisions of the bloc's member countries. And the normalization of relations between Colombia and Venezuela has enabled the government of Gustavo Petro to assist communities isolated by heavy rains through Venezuelan territory. Venezuela authorized the opening of a humanitarian corridor to bring assistance to the indigenous communities in the north of the Colombian department of La Guajira. The opening includes land transit from Paraguación to Castilletes, facilitating the delivery of food, hygiene, and kitchen kits, among other aid to the municipalities such as Maicao and Uribia. In addition, it will allow the access of organizations such as the Civil Defense and the Colombian Red Cross, ensuring medical attention and the provision of basic supplies. In Mexico, during the 16th International Afro-Indo-American Colloquium, specialists denounced the fact that racism seeks to gain recognition in various spheres, including politics. Let's see.
Donald Trump's electoral triumph in the United States is a clear example of how racist discourse is gaining ground in terms of social acceptance, says this specialist.
The rise of Donald Trump to the presidency creates a lot of questions, I think, for both the right and the left. Racism is gaining ground, as Durbin told us in 2001. How we see it as an important revival of the strengthening of hate speeches with a racist patriarchal harassment. The legitimization of these speeches and racist practices both in the political, media, and cultural spheres.
During the 16th International Colloquium on Afro-Indo-America, held at the Metropolitan Autonomous University Iztapalapa unit, academics warned that historically subjugated Afro-descendant peoples must continue to struggle for the recognition of their rights.
Restorative justice, climate justice, digital justice. We go with these three key demands as a key anti-racist paradigm with historical reparation at its core.
The colloquium on African-American peoples seeks to develop a critical panorama that goes beyond the academic debate and materializes in social actions.
I feel that these types of spaces are extremely important because they generate reflections and because it is directly a call to action so that from the academic world, we can also think about how to face these social problems that contribute to the perpetuation of practices that end up generating these social inequalities.
The presence of Afro-descendant peoples must be manifested in all areas to avoid the invisibility of their important contributions to Latin American culture.
Through the invisibilization of these populations, bad practices are perpetuated. I believe that an important theme to visualize these populations is precisely to insist on the cultural presence and in all aspects of these populations. In the different Latin American countries and in general in America, in all of America, from the north to the south.
In Latin America, there are an estimated 134 million people of African descent, representing 20% of the region's total population, most of them living in poverty or vulnerability. In addition to the ongoing struggle against racism, Afro-descendant peoples seek to discuss new demands such as climate justice, Afrofeminism, and human